Hello future judges, this is Annapurna and today I am going to teach you facts in issue. Now if we read section 2 subsection 1 clause G of BSA, that is bharatiyasakshyaadhiniyam, and if we read section 3 of Indian Evidence Act, we find that fact in issue means and includes. So, what does means and includes mean? Let me explain it to you in a very simple way. Okay? When a law says means and includes, it is doing two things at once. So, when a law says means and includes, it is doing two things at once. Okay. So if we deal with the means part, means if we deal with the means part, it gives the exact definition. Okay. Exact definition. So means part gives us the exact definition. If law said vehicle means Audi, it means vehicle is equal to only Audi, nothing else. Now includes mean the extra things law wants to add. Okay, so includes mean the extra things law wants to cover to, right? So if the law said vehicle means Audi and includes Range Rover and BMW, it means vehicle is equal to Audi plus Range Rover plus BMW. Okay, got it. Imagine you are cooking a biryani. Okay. Here means is equal to the fixed recipe. Okay. Suppose you are cooking biryani. And here means is equal to the fixed recipe. Okay. That is rice, vegetables, meat, masala. Okay, so these ingredients are required to make the biryani. So these are the fixed recipe. Okay. Without these, without rice, vegetables, or if you are non-veg, then meat or chicken, masala. Without all this is not a biryani. Okay, so this is the fixed recipe. These are the essential part. Okay, now in the biryani example, includes part includes part deals with the extra you add. Okay, so the raita, salad. In case you are a non-vegetarian, then boiled egg. You can add all these. Okay, so these extra part, that is raita, salad, boiled egg. Okay, these are come under the purview of includes part. Okay, even though this raita, salad, boiled egg are not essential, but you still want to count them as biryani package, right? So in this case, means and includes mean fixed recipe plus extras. So remember this way. Means fixes the core and includes adds the more, right? So means fixes the core and includes adds the more. So simple. See, only means is equal to restrictive. Okay, and only includes means expansive. But when we use means and includes together, when we use means and includes together, it means exhaustive and not open ended. Okay, now if you read the principles of statutory interpretation by J.P. Singh, he explains that means and include is a drafting device to ensure that the definition is complete and no further addition is possible, isn't it? Now, if you see this case, that is P. Kasilingam versus PSG College of Technology. Here, the court said when the words means and includes are used together, the definition is exhaustive. Okay, it means the legislature intend to restrict the meaning only to what is written, nothing else. So, in Bharat Cooperative Bank, Mumbai Limited versus Employees Union 2007, the court explained that generally includes means expansive, but when we use means and includes together, it means the definition is final and complete. Okay. Most of you here are Gen Z. Even if you are not, that really doesn't matter. You live in a world of games, reels, and virtual experiences. So instead of giving you a boring lecture, let me share a metaverse example. But before that, let's quickly understand what the metaverse is. So you will see how law can actually feel like entering a whole new world. See, in physics, scientists says that there may not be just one universe, but a multiverse, that is, many universes, each with its own rules. So, suppose there are three universes. Universe A, where gravity work normally. In universe B, there is no gravity. Okay. And in universe C, time flows backward. Okay, time flows backward. It's mean each universe has different laws of nature. So this is multiverse. Now what is metaverse? See, take people thought, if physics can imagine so many universes, then why can't we build our own artificial universe? So they created the metaverse, a digital universe beyond the real one. Here you can walk into a virtual courtroom or open a virtual law book or argue as a 3D observer. Okay. It is not physics but inspired by the same idea, that is a world beyond our world. So how we can enter the metaverse? through VR headset, through augmented reality glasses. Okay, so these are some medium using which you can enter into metaverse. Imagine a metaverse platform where you can enter different dimension, that is different world. Okay, suppose the rule book of metaverse says that the game world means and includes the game world means and includes dimension A, dimension B and dimension C. So here means is equal to dimension A, B and C. Only dimension A, B and C. So here means is equal to you can play only inside these dimension. Okay, and includes is equal to dimension A, dimension B and dimension C are surely part of this game world. Okay, so together when we use means and includes, so when we use means and includes together, you cannot say, hey, what about dimension D? Okay, because this is not allowed. Why? Because when we use the word means and includes together, that means this list is exhaustive. Means game world means and includes dimension A, dimension B and dimension C means these lists are exhaustive. You cannot allow to add another dimension or another new thing. Okay. Now coming back to the Bear Act. Okay. So we have just completed this means and includes part. Right. So now any fact from which either by itself or in connection with other facts. Now, what does it mean? So, it means a fact can sometimes prove something alone, or sometimes it needs some supporting facts to make sense. Okay? So, think of it like a puzzle pieces. So, one piece may show the whole picture, like this one. One piece may show the whole picture. Okay. Or several pieces may together reveal it, like this. So, this is one piece. This is another one. So, this is third one. And this is fourth one. Okay. Okay. So, this is like puzzle pieces. One piece may show the whole picture, or several pieces together may reveal. Okay. Suppose a CCTV footage clearly shows that A stabbing B. Okay. Now, this fact alone proves that A caused B's death. Okay. Sometimes many facts together make the full picture. Okay. So, for example, A was seen entering B's house. Also, A's knife had B's blood. Okay. Then A's fingerprints on B's door. Okay. So these three facts, that is fact 1, fact 2 and fact 3, are alone not enough, but together they connect to prove the case. Okay. Now coming back to the BSA Act. Okay. So now we will deal with the following part, that is the existence, non-existence, nature or extent of any right, liability or disability. Okay. So now, for now we will read this much. Okay. So to understand it better, read this like this way, that is the existence of any right, liability or disability, the non-existence of any right, liability or disability, nature of any right, liability or disability, or the extent of any right, liability or disability. Okay. Now I will explain it in a very simple way. So first of all, I would like to explain the term the existence. Okay. So first of all, I would like to explain the term the existence. Okay. So what does it mean? It means whether a right, liability or disability is actually present in the case. So, for example, did A actually have a right to the property? If the answer is yes, then the right, existence of the right is proved. Okay. Now we will deal the term non-existence. Okay. The term non-existence. It means whether something does not exist. So, for example, if B claims that A had no right to enter his land. Now, here we are checking the non-existence of A's right. So, here we are checking the non-existence of A's right. Okay. So, sometimes the issue is to prove that something does not exist in law or fact. Now, we will deal with the term nature. Okay. Nature. So, nature means the kind or the character of that right, liability or the disability. Okay. So, for example, was the right ownership or only possession? Okay. And was the liability civil or criminal? Okay. That's what the nature means, the type of that thing. Now, the extent means how much and how far it goes. So, for example, does A own the full land or half of it? Take another example. Does A have to pay 1 lakh or 10,000 only? This is about the extent of right and liability, that is the range or limit. Now we are dealing with of any right, liability or disability. So these are the main things that courts decide. Okay. So Right means what you can lawfully do or claim. Okay. For example, A's right to property. A's right to property. Okay. Liability means what you are responsible for. For example, A's duty to pay the damages. Okay. Now, disability means what you are not capable of doing legally. Okay, what you are not capable of doing legally. For example, a being of unsound mind can't make a contract. Okay, so the court checks whether such right, liability or disability exist, does not exist, what kind it is, and how much it extends. Okay, let me share a very interesting story that will help you remember this concept forever. So, in our story, Sonu owns a biryani house, the most famous biryani shop in Kolkata. So, Sonu owns biryani house, the most famous biryani shop in Kolkata. Now, Chef Raja is the head chef of this biryani house. So, Chef Raja is the head chef of this biryani house. Okay. Now, one day, Sonu told Chef Raja that beta, you can take some biryani from this kitchen for your family during this festive season. Now, Chef Raja happily took 5 handis home and also sold 2 handis to a nearby dhaba for profit. When Sonu, the owner, found out, he was very angry. He took Chef Raja to the court. Small disclaimer, this is a hypothetical story. Okay. Now, when court said, this is not about biryani. This is about nature and extent of right and liabilities. So, nature of right means what type of right was given. So, was Sep Raja allowed to take biryani only for family or also for selling purposes? If it was family use only, then selling to a dhaba was against the nature of his right. So, nature of the right meanings what type of right was given. Okay. Now, talking about the extent of right. It means how far, how far, how far does that right go? Okay. So it means how far does that right go? Now, in this context, in our story, was Sep Raja allowed to take only 2 handis or as much as he wants? Now he took 5 handis. So 2 handis were the limit and he took 5 handis. So taking 5 handis crossed the extent of his right. So simply extent is equal to how much of that right you can enjoy. Okay. Next we will deal with nature of a liability. Nature of a liability. It means in our story what kind of obligation does Sep Raja have? Okay, so what kind of obligation does Sep Raja have? Should he return the biryani or pay money? Okay, so nature of liability means what kind of burden is it? So in very simple words, nature of liability. Nature of liability is equal to what kind of burden is it? Okay. Now, what about extent of a liability? So, extent of a liability. It means how big that how big that burden is. So it means how big that burden is. So pay for 2 handis that he has sold or also compensate for damages to shop's reputations. Now in very simple words, the meaning of the extent of liability is how heavy is the burden. Now, what about the nature of disability? Okay, So if we deal with the nature of disability, so it means in our story, what kind of restriction, can be put on Sheikh Raja. So nature of disability means what kind of restriction can be put on Sheikh Raja. Okay. Maybe he is banned from making the biryani, but still can make kebab. So, in very simple words, the nature of disability means what exactly is being restricted. Now, what about the extent of disability? So, the extent of disability. It means how far the restriction goes. So it means how far the restriction goes. So in our story, is he banned for 1 month, 1 year, or forever? Okay. I mean, he is banned from making biryani for 1 month, 1 year, or forever. So, in very simple words, the extent of disability means how wide and long this restriction lasts. So, I hope the nature or extent of any right, liability, or disability, this concept is clear now. So this story, that is the biryani story, will help you remember this concept forever. So coming back to the next part, that is asserted or denied in any suit or proceeding. So asserted means one person claims something. It means one person claims something, that is asserted. And denied means the other person denies it. Okay. So one person claims something and the other person denies it. And that's how, so one person claims something and other person denies it. And that's how a legal dispute arises. Now, moving on to the next part, that is necessarily follows. So, what does it mean? It means if that fact is proved true, then the main question of the case is automatically decided. So, necessarily follows means the outcome of the case directly depend on whether the fact is fruit or disfruit. Okay. Now, if the fact is true, if the fact is true, then the right or liability or disability exists. And if this fact is false, then the right, liability or disability does not exist. Okay. Now, for an example, suppose in a contract case, A is a minor. Okay, A is a minor. Now, if it proved, then it necessarily follows that A cannot be bound by this contract. And if it disproved, then A is bound by the contract. Got it? So, in short, necessarily follows is equal to the right, liability or disability is unavoidably linked to whether the fact is proved or disproved. Okay. Now let's move on to the next part, that is the explanation part. Before that, I would like to tell you something. See, to decide a case, we need some essential fact. This is called matter in issue. Matter in issue can further be divided into two parts. So, matter in issue can be divided in two parts. One, collaterally or incidentally in issue. These are not essential to decide a suit. Another one is directly and substantially in issue. These are essential to decide a suit. Now, directly and substantially in issue can further be divided into two parts. First one is not raised by any party, that is constructive res judicata. Another one is issue which was raised by a party, Now, issue which was raised by a party. Issue which was raised by a party can further be divided into two parts. First one is not controverted or not denied by the opposite party. It means admitted. Okay. Another one is denied or controverted by opposite party. So, on this, we go on to make the issue of fact. Issue of fact under Order 40 of Civil Procedure Code. Issue of fact is always be a form of question. The fact to be established in order to answer the issue of fact is called facting issue. See, in CPC, if a fact asserted by one party and denied by other, then under Order 40, issue of fact is framed and it is, that is issue of fact, it is always in question form. Okay. But the term issue of fact has not been used in Indian Evidence Act or bharatiyasakshyaadhiniyam. Also, the term fact in issue has not been used in CPC. Whereas under Indian Evidence Act or bharatiyasakshyaadhiniyam, what has to be proved or disproved in order to prove the existence or non-existence of any right is called facting issue. Therefore, it was essential to draw a link between facting issue and issue of fact. So, what the explanation to facting issue provides is that facting issue is the fact to assert it or deny it in order to answer the issue of fact. Suppose, for an example, A asserted that there was a contract and B denies the existence of this contract. Then the issue of fact will be whether the contract existed. So, in reply to this question, the fact to be asserted or denied by either of the parties is the existence of the contract, and that becomes the facting issue. Now, if the defendant claims that the contract got frustrated, then the issue of frame will be whether the contract got frustrated. Okay. The assertive part of the sentence, that is the fact to be established in reply to that question, is the frustration of the contract, and that will be called the facting issue. So, this is all about facts in issue, and I hope you enjoyed the class. As much as I enjoyed teaching it, before signing off, I have something special to share. If you want to learn law in the most innovative, scientific, and life changing way, a way that no one in India has ever offered before, then welcome to Annapurna Judicial Academy. Our exclusive teaching method, our exclusive teaching method transforms every complex legal concept into something crystal clear, powerful, and unforgettable. This is not just a course, it's your judicial aspirants Odyssey, a journey that will make you stand out wherever you go, and help you become one of the most knowledgeable minds in the field of law. So our ultimate foundation course for judicial services is launching on 5th January, and only 20 students can enroll. So if you want to join for admission, you can WhatsApp us at 8910-885-8867. So this is our WhatsApp number, 8910-885-867. So all the very best and take care.